welcome to Chewer, the Left Side Brain podcast. I'm Ollie Jewiden, 1/4 of Left Side Brain, and with me, as always, are Gareth Jones,
Watcher.
Ryan Brooks,
Hello.
and Rich Sadler.
Good evening.
We are recording this 2 weeks after we recorded episode 7 and find ourselves right in the middle of another heat wave. The last recording suffered a little bit because of the heat, so apologies for that. But we should be a little bit better set up tonight, perhaps, but we'll see. Episode 7, though, despite the heat, was huge fun. Well, I enjoyed it anyway. What about you guys?
I enjoyed it immensely. It might have been the funnest one yet.
Shall we have another episode where we all have to choose our dream band, but only made up from people chosen by other people's dream band?
Perhaps we choose a nightmare band next time.
Oh, that's
the worst possible combination of people in a band.
That's a great idea.
That is good.
I'll add that.
All four members of Queen.
I may keep Dave Mustaine in mind.
Oh, absolutely. And Lars Ulrich.
Of course.
Yeah, anyone thought of anything they wished they'd added to their band last week, or come up with a second album title, G?
I'm pleased. I am pleased with how it went. I'm happy to leave it where it is for now. I found myself interested in the non-existent track, Radagast's Trip, from their first EP, and I've been, in a bit of a reverie, wondering how that track might unfold. Maybe we need to write it.
Oh, I'm super happy with where it landed as well. I think if you asked me again in 6 months, I would find quite a different, potentially find quite a different lineup. But still excited to hear the band I put together.
Yeah,
and these are happening. Is that right? Or have I misunderstood how this works?
Somewhere in another universe, these are happening. Yes.
Yeah, I've contacted
Wow.
them all. Yeah.
Oh, there's a thought.
But if the universe is indeed infinite, these are happening somewhere.
In the multiverse.
I have been in WhatsApp contact with Death from Bill and Ted.
Well, it's quite easy to
his services.
It's quite easy to WhatsApp yourself, isn't it?
Started a WhatsApp group with him and Flat Eric.
Well, played by William Sadler. My namesake, William Sadler. So yes.
Right, well, staying on the theme of episode 7, let's have a bit of correspondence.
Mail.
Just one this week from friend of the band, friend of the pod, Mike Heffron. Hi, Mike.
Yay, Mike.
Who
Hey,
has
Mike.
sent his own fantasy supergroup lineup.
Let's go.
Yes.
So I won't read the whole thing out. I'll go through line by line and let you react. So he says, without thinking about it too much, supergroup for him means a huge stadium gig. So he's going for a triple guitar lineup like Maiden. And his 3 guitarists are Tom Morello, Dimebag Darrell, and Zach Wilde.
Okay.
Good luck, lads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like mine, I'm not saying you got to love it, lads. You've just got to do it. There's a lot of people that are used to taking the reins there.
Do you think that would be taking turns to solo, or would it be 3-part harmony solos?
Well, it depends on what Mike lets them do, isn't it?
That's a very good point. Well,
Who's the odd one out there then? Is it Morello? Do you think? They would find it harder to fit into that.
The problem you're going to have there is that Dimebag and Zach Wilde are already besties.
Oh, I didn't realize that. So that explains the whole Pantera thing.
also, Zach Wilde has spent the last 5 years playing Pantera songs as well, so they're getting closer together.
Do you think they might be ganging up on Morello then?
Mm.
Oh, poor Tom.
You can take it.
Well, it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to find out.
Yeah, maybe the rest of the band's got some mediators.
Maybe he could win them over by talking about politics.
So on bass and also arranging the orchestra is John Paul Jones.
Oh
yeah. Wise.
It feels as though that's a caveat that John Paul Jones has put on before he agreed to join the band and arranging the orchestra.
And that's why I'm not so sure Mike will have much of a say ultimately in what happens here.
Did John Paul Jones arrange Led Zeppelin strings and things?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
He didn't arrange strings so much as he played them all on like a mellotron and stuff.
Yeah.
So he would be playing the mellotron and playing the bass with his feet on the pedals and all sorts of shit.
Okay.
I remember seeing him talking when he was sort of bitterly talking about the Page and Plant Unleaded thing that they did and didn't ask him to join, that he was watching them do Kashmir with this massive 100-piece Turkish orchestra, which is incredible.
Egyptian.
There you go. Yeah. And he was thinking while he was watching it, I used to do that with 2 hands on my 2 feet.
And then drums, because they're only playing arenas, Nico McBrain,
Who dat?
Iron Maiden.
You
Until
never seen
recently.
Nico McBrain? What a character. Giant kit, larger than life, Cockney man.
Flat nosed. He's built for the big stuff.
The galloper.
He is definitely a galloper.
Arguably the galloper.
Yes.
Mm.
And he's right in there with the kind of originators of, and now we're playing this tempo.
Yeah.
Not like going half time or doubling up, just
Yeah.
turning on a
It's interesting. I just can't imagine him being in any other band. Has he ever played in any other band?
I don't know.
Well, he must have, because he wasn't the original Maiden drummer, was he? He joined in mid-80s, I think. So I guess, they must have taken him from somewhere, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know
But since then,
enough about
he's
him.
not been like collaborating with other celebs or anything, is he? He's just
he's just hanging his sticks up, isn't he?
Mm.
yeah. He's
And
got
that's 3 or
something
4
up
years.
Mike, that's not to say he wouldn't join your band.
his-
I think he'd still be up for it.
course he would.
So my question is, before we get on to singer and anyone else in the band, is like, we've got a pretty groovy set of guitarists and a bassist that's probably going to lock into that really nicely. I'm interested to see how Nico McBrain locks into a dime bag swaggering groove.
Mm.
I think so. I think so Dimebag and Zach are gonna be in awe of Nico McBrain. So they will cleave toward galloping Maiden-esque riffs, I would say, naturally. And it's arguable that Morello will too, because he's still, an old school metaler, right?
Yeah, good point.
Nico will probably be top of the tree in terms of the hierarchy there.
Well, no, I mean, John Paul Jones is probably his guy though.
Oh shit! No, I forgot about him.
So we got someone else calling the shots above Nico. Anyway, who's singing?
Well, Mike says vocals for this is almost impossible, so needs a lot of balls. Freddie Mercury can hold his own in front of this lot.
Certainly can.
When he said a lot of balls, I thought he was going to say Johnny Ball and Michael Ball
And Cannonball.
Bobby Ball.
Michael Ball. There we go.
Oh, Michael Ball he would be an amazing frontman for a band like that, wouldn't he?
Can I just say, I think I've only ever heard one Iron Maiden song. I think it's Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter. That's the only Iron Maiden song I'd ever heard in my life.
I'm sure that somewhere there is
Sorry,
an Iron
Mike.
Maiden record that we should all listen to.
Yeah, well, that's one they don't really play, isn't it? I know it got to number 1, but it wasn't. It was sort of on the lowest ever sales for number 1 the week it did, and they don't. It's one they don't tend to play very much, I think.
Well, they're big songs.
Run to the Hills.
Run to the Hills is
I know
probably
that
the most famous one, isn't it?
I've
Okay.
recently realised it's a big gap for me too. Really.
Yeah, me too.
I probably only a couple of weeks ago realised I don't think I've ever listened to a Maiden record all the way through. So
Perhaps this is our next classic album.
Yeah, no, I
yeah.
put Number of the Beast on maybe about halfway through, and I was like, actually, why don't I try and corral a few different people's kind of lists of what are the well thought of ones, and I think I ended up going for Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, maybe. I've been meaning to. Well, I have started, kind of thinking I should get through some.
Well, if anyone wants to contact us with recommendations for where to start with Maiden, or send us a playlist of the top 10 songs we should listen to, then that would be welcome.
Perfect.
We'll all give it a go. Give that a go. So yeah, that's the members of Mike's band. He does finish his message by saying it'll be a car crash. Might have to refine it a bit. I don't think that was the name of the band. I think that was just a comment at the end. But car crash, perhaps.
Yeah.
We didn't really talk about Mercury there. I mean, how would he fare in that social environment? Would he be dominating it, or would he be struggling to find his spot?
Well, this is the thing. He'd want to be dominating it, wouldn't he? He would, although he liked to interact with Brian May on stage. Brian May was reserved enough. He wasn't particularly flashy in his, they do the occasional back to back, but Brian May would be subtle enough that Freddie could wander around the stage still preening even when it was a guitar solo. I'm not sure that would be the case when you've got three guitarists all dueling.
But then how in awe would they all be of Freddie
Well,
Mercury?
yeah, that's also a good
Yeah.
point.
It's a difficult hierarchy to draw out, I think, socially.
As Mike says, it'll be a car crash.
What a car crash.
What would they sound like? What would their style be?
I think they'd sound like early Queen, because that's when they were at their gallopiest, right? But then John Paul Jones wouldn't stand for that.
No, he's going to want to stomp more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the orchestral stuff would play into the early Queen.
God, there's an
and arranging
orchestra as well.
arranging all the parts.
Where's the gap for the orchestra?
Where's Daryl Sturmer in all of this?
Who's having a well-deserved night off.
Honestly.
Well done, Mike.
That was very
Thanks,
good,
Mike.
Mike. Thank you. As ever, please get in touch. You can email us at leftsidebrainband@gmail.com, message us via Instagram and Facebook, or leave a comment on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to this pod. All right, let's move on.
You're just too good to turn down. You're just too good to turn down. You're just too good to turn down. Brain trigger for life. Connect with the
So, what we've been up to since we last spoke 2 weeks ago. We'll start with you, Rye, because you plugged and we're looking forward to a pretty special gig last couple of episodes.
So to recap, it was a show that Barry was putting on as part of a Bristol run of shows called Youth Anthems, aim being to do afternoon shows that are all ages, and it's bands that not just fit that thing, but so that it suits all ages. Maybe the volume's a bit pulled back and all that sort of stuff. So to recap, I've known Barry for about 25 years, and we've played loads of shows together. But it's the first time my current band, Pretend Friends, and his alter ego, Non-Canon, have played a show together. Now, I'm still coming to terms with the fact I'm playing a band that can suit an all ages show and can play with Barry's kind of folk persona. So that's still a novelty, even though I've been in the band a handful of years. So played in the afternoon. 10 friends did ourselves no favors by all going out really late the night before. We had one of our very good friends' 50th birthdays, and we were all in for that. Nonetheless, we made it there. So the show itself was just a real treat. So Barry went on second, Non-Canon, played a chunk of his show, and then all of Pretend Friends came on to play two of his songs, which we'd practiced during the week. And certainly in soundcheck, I felt quite emotional about it. As like one of my very best friends, we were making his songs kind of sound as full as they are on record, and it just actually felt quite natural and lovely. And it was really, I think it went really well. Then we had a bit of a break. Now, my first request was, I don't know if you guys remember when David Bowie and Nine Inch Nails toured together. They wouldn't have a break. Like David Bowie would play, and then Nine Inch Nails would come on and make it a bit more filthy, and then it would turn into a Nine Inch Nails show, and vice versa each night. I was like, why don't we just then stay on and you play a song with us, and we'll turn it into a Pretend Friends evening? But I think the sensible idea of breaking so the bar could keep its takings going won through. So we then played a show, and unlike us, we used to play in kind of being the evening's entertainment. We played like a compact little 45 minutes. Barry came on with his acoustic to sing and play with us for a track as well. And that also just went really well and felt really natural. It was just a treat of an afternoon, really, playing to some really good friends. G and family came down, and then some new friends too. And it felt like something that should have happened years ago. It was great.
It was lovely. I can concur. Beforehand, I was delighted about the idea of you guys backing Barry up, because it was obviously a great fit. Exactly the kind of band who would fill that spot perfectly, and it just went as great as I thought it would. I thought it was just lovely. Lots of people just singing, playing music together, like sort of real musicians. which was great. I enjoyed it enormously, and we had a great time.
And I wouldn't rule. I would. Well, no, so I wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened again. You know, it was a really. It was a. Yeah, it was a really lovely fit, and I could see us turning up on stage with them again at some point. Nice. I hope he's not listening.
Excellent. Sounds like an absolute triumph. Well done.
It was.
Rich, you got an album you wanted to recommend or talk about at least?
Yeah, so a few musical adventures this week. Album you guys recommended a few eps back, which I paid a little bit of attention to. But then when I saw my brother-in-law, Mark, recently, he said, "Have you listened to that album?" I said, "No." He said, "I can listen to it. It's a banger." So I listened to the Elder album, Through Zero.
Yes.
Which, oh my God, that album is so good. It's so good. I was just expecting, I don't know why I associated this with Elder, but some sort of crusty stoner, mid-paced sludge. But no, it's like brilliantly played, cosmic-y, space rock with some great riffs, amazing musicianship, gnarly sounding bass, and badass guitar, which goes off into Mario Kart many, many times very satisfactorily. So I think that's definitely my rock album of the year. Absolutely love it. It's just
Brilliant.
total grinner
Wow.
from
Rock album of the year.
For me,
That's
yeah.
saying something.
For me, so far. Yeah, really, really love it. So I can't recommend that highly enough. I also, another recommendation of yours, I listened to the latest Horse Lords
Yes.
album, which
One
as
all, Brooks.
promised, Gareth.
Yeah.
Initially, I was like, "What is this shite?"
Oh, which one did you listen to? Did you listen to the new one, or did you
the latest one?
the latest?
Which
Right. Yeah.
sounded like the Wicker Man soundtrack falling down a flight of stairs.
Yeah. All that stuff going. Yeah.
Yeah, unbelievably annoying, but multiple listens, which you had also recommended, it clicked. So very much enjoying that and looking forward to digging into their catalogue. And then the last one for me is I'm loving an album by a American female singer-songwriter called Emma Harner, who was on Guitar Moves, you know, the Matt Sweeney
Oh, right.
show. I don't know if you've seen it. So
all I know of it is there's one episode of it of him with Josh Homme that just appears in my stream constantly. And I've never seen another episode.
There's two Josh Homme episodes. The first one
right.
is when they're coked off their gourd, isn't it? And then the second one is them denying that they're coked off their gourd.
Right.
Unconvincingly, I would say. But yeah, Guitar Moves, Emma Harner. So she's a brilliant finger-picking acoustic guitar player, sort of, and influenced by Radiohead, American Football's just incredible weird tunings and very melodic, beautiful songs. So she's got an album called something that I can't remember, but I would thoroughly recommend her latest album, Emma Harner.
Does she maybe play with two thumb picks or something and does like super kind of technical, really fast finger picky stuff?
Yes,
I've heard a bit of that.
Yeah, I would really recommend. Gorgeous voice and brilliant. Evening Star is what the album's called.
I'm just looking at a picture of her now. I recognize her face. I've seen her on something recently, and she was very comfortably playing a lot of very difficult stuff.
Very charming young lady when she talks about it as well. So I would recommend Guitar Me.
Is there a record of hers you'd recommend?
Evening Star is her debut album, but she's done some EPs before that. But if you just want to be charmed by her, like I say, I would watch Guitar Moves, and watch Guitar Moves generally. So it's Matt Sweeney talking to various different guitarists of all kind of ilks about their thing, what makes their thing about how they play guitar. He's done Keith Richards and all sorts of people.
Nice. I will give her album a listen. I'm sticking it on my list now.
Excellent. Thanks, Rich. Gee, you've got a recommendation as well, haven't you?
Yeah, a record I've been listening to on a whim. I was just searching through like my lists of old stuff that I've saved as stuff that I know I like, and realized it's been years since I listened to the album El Ron by Bark Market.
Beauty.
And what a ripping record that is. So it's the band of Dave Sardi, the sort of mega Uber producer guy. That originally he was a frontman of a band, and they are like super raw, they sound a little bit like a cross between, say, 100 Reasons and Unsane.
Ooh.
And they sound really, really gritty, and like everything sounds like old and interestingly recorded, but the chewy big sound that comes together from it is just super satisfying. Yeah, I mean, Richie, they're right up your street for a start. And yeah, they're from that sort of late 80s, early 90s amphetamine reptile sort of sounding, helmety, unsaney, New Yorky bunch of bands. Huge recommend from me. Just beautiful sounding record. Then they're like a Wanna band record. You think, oh God, that's a great band. I'd love to see them. They sound amazing. And now he's producing Oasis albums, which seems mad when you listen to this. But yeah, L. Ron by Bark
Great.
Market.
Right. Well, add that to the list as well. Right. You've also got a record you want to talk about.
Always. So I haven't gone super deep on this one yet, but it's an album by a band called Warning that I stumbled on this week. I say stumbled on. I saw the Kerrang review for it, and the more I read, the more I realized it was exactly my thing. So there were a few revelations on my way to listening to this record. First was, so the main guy in this, who's called Patrick Walker, plays and sings and writes all the music for a band called 40 Watt Sun.
I've heard of them.
All three of their albums are a treat. This kind of chordy, moody, low but blissed out kind of mood they've got through all their records. It's really lovely, and he sings really plaintively on it all. It's beautiful. So then I found out, all right, turns out he's British and he's also got this Doom project, which is super, super well thought of, called Warning. And Kerrang gave it 5 out of 5, said for fans of Yob and Paul Bearer. So I'm like, okay, I am super in. So I love the guy that's making this right up my street in terms of what is good Doom. And I'm like 2 listens into this record, and it's not kind of shouty like the depths of Yob. It's more like got the melancholic kind of majesty about it, but it's all kind of his kind of plaintive melodies still run through it all, but it is just these slow unfurling riffs and kind of no hurry in revealing what the song and the overall vibe is about. It is just, I want to say it's a quietly huge sounding record, because it's not all showy and bluster, but they just get to this place like, oh, hang on, you're really going now, and it's chordy and majestic, but he sounds kind of heartbroken, and yeah, it's a real treat. Maybe not for everyone, but I think I'm really taken with it. And again, I know I keep saying this, but must keep putting it on in the right moment. It's felt really good today on a kind of, oh, good grief, is hot to have a kind of quite slow paced. Yeah, I'm sad about the world record on. It's felt good. So there's 2 recommendations in there. I think 40 Watt Sun are great. They are much more your Sunday morning, great mood. And then the same guy is also in Warning, and hard recommend for Rituals of Shame.
Excellent.
It's on my 2026 playlist, so you must have recommended it to me, right?
Oh, there we go.
So that record's called Rituals of Shame.
Yeah.
That's quite a title to conjure with, that, isn't it? Rituals of Shame.
Yeah.
I should also mention that I have been listening to the leaked Deftones album, Eros.
Oh, I forgot to find it and listen to it. How is it?
I'm not sure if I should talk about it, really.
No, let's come back to it.
Because I think maybe we should, but I would thoroughly recommend listening, because it's very interesting. Listen. So maybe we do that. If you're up for it and it doesn't offend you to do so, I would definitely seek it out.
Yeah, fine by me.
All right, and then finally, just before we came on, we started talking about the new Muse album. So we said we'd spend a couple of minutes on that. Rye, you've had a listen, have you?
I listened to it. Yeah, I'd seen a couple of reviews on it and thought this might be my way back in. I think that's not fair. I always dip into new Muse. I've loved some of their previous records, and so I think I'll always open the door. But this one I actually had a lot of fun with. They seem to be friends with big riffs again, which is why I fell in love with them to begin with. But they're finding the path through it with that and some of the stompy, squelchy, princey stuff still present. But I think it's all still rooted in the riff. So if you think that like Supermassive Black Hole is still if you count that as still one of the riffy ones, which I think it is, it's got that and then proper kind of full tilt kind of Origins of Symmetry chunk as well, I'd say. Will I spend lots of time with it like I have done with, say, the Haggard Cat or with some of the others I've recommended? Possibly not, but I was delighted to know that one of our biggest globe-straddling kind of rock acts was deciding to stomp on the distortion pedal hard again.
I think I heard one track, I heard Night Shift Superstar.
Yeah.
Which was very much in the glammy electro camp, which was all right.
Yes, but I do think it's got, I've listened to it a couple of times, I think it's based on what sounds like a riff that Matt Bellamy must have written on a guitar. Even if it doesn't sound like it's played on it. You know what I mean? Like,
and there's some ludicrous bass stuff on there as well, which was entertaining.
Cool.
Give it a go.
Yeah. All right. Let's have a look back in time.
Almost had me multitasking, shitless, never notwithstanding. Almost had me billboard branding, showboat bastard. Almost had me.
On this day in LSB history, see, we're in July now, and there's loads of stuff within 2 or 3 days of this date across the years. So I've got 3 to look back on this week. So on this day tomorrow in 2002, we played a gig at the Louisiana in Bristol, as we often do, but it was with Blue Neck.
Hey.
So it was a year after we first met them at the Cheese and Grain. Rich, you'd become particularly good friends, I think, with Dunk and, well, all the guys in Blue Neck. So we'd put on a gig with them and a band called Crossfade. Anyone remember anything about that gig?
I don't remember Crossfade, no.
I mean, in the scheme of things, it's just another gig at the Louis, but it was interesting. It was the first time we'd put on a gig with Blue Neck since we met them.
Would that be probably the most diametrically different band we've chosen to play with?
Definitely.
At that point, probably.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And I've got our diary entries from the time, because this was obviously in the era where we still tried to write a short diary entry for each. It was one of the ones where we all sort of wrote a one-liner each, but yeah, G, you basically said, I don't know why it works, but somehow it does, LSB and Blue Neck. Yeah, it sounds like we had a pretty packed Louis as well, which was good. So it was one of those where we put on a eclectic bill and it actually paid off. Yeah, nice from the early days of both bands. And then leaping forward to 2006, so 20 years ago, yesterday and the day before, actually, we played 2 gigs with Failsafe.
Ooh. Was
Remember
one
those?
of them in Swansea?
No, they were the Winter Gardens in Cleethorpes and the Lincoln Imp in Scunthorpe.
What?
Do you not remember these gigs?
Well, one of them was like a big ballroom, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. So we drove all the way up to Cleethorpes.
On the front?
Yeah. Do you remember we got caught in a ridiculous rainstorm and had to shelter we were walking to a pub or to get some food, I think, before the gig. And got caught in a proper monsoon and had to hide in a doorway of a guest house or something. We played, the Winter Gardens in Cleethorpes, which, like you say, was a big kind of ballroom type room. And then the following night, we played this real little.
Oh, hang on, sorry. Before we go on to the following night, a memory has popped up while you're talking about the Cleethorpes one. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Like vague flashbacks of something going on after the show, involving maybe a bit of trouble in town and driving around the back of places and something going on. Maybe like someone was running around somewhere behind some houses, or we trying to park or something.
I've no memory of that. I think if it was, it's more likely the following night.
But like police sirens or something involved in it. Yeah, the police had to come out for something.
Maybe the following night.
So the following night, let me talk you through the following night, and then the following night we were playing a pub called the Lincoln Imp, which was basically on a housing estate in Scunthorpe, and the dressing room was underneath the main pub, and it had a boxing ring in the middle of it. Do you remember this?
Did I come to these gigs?
I don't think that happened.
I've got photos of that gig. Yeah.
Don't remember either of these.
We had a couple of fun days away because we played the gig in Cleethorpes, on the first night. And then Scunthorpe was only a couple of miles up the road. So we had a whole day in Cleethorpes. We went out onto the pier. We had fish and chips on the beach. We played
Oh, is
the
that
arcades.
when we walked out on that massive big concrete promontory that went out into the sea? Or was that in Brighton? No. Southend.
Southend, probably.
Oh, right.
Oh, I honestly
is-
thought you'd have more memories of these two gigs.
Was
I-
what-
It was,
was,
it was
I
a
remember-
fun. It was a fun couple of nights away.
was this wasn't the one where we parked the van in the car park and the security guard with the Rottweilers came out to scare us away?
That's it. That's what I was remembering.
Which one? The second one, the housing estate.
I don't know. We parked in the car park next to a ballroom type place, and the security guard was first friendly, and then he came out with two massive attack dogs and said, "I think you need to leave now."
That's it.
I have no memory of that.
we just like in the car park, we're like drinking beers at the back of the van, just
I
hanging.
remember that. I
It was
remember
like it was in terms of us as good middle class boys. That was the nearest we got to like trouble. I think.
I remember them. We got on quite well with Failsafe. This was a few months before their infamous
Oh,
appearance on the
In-Betweeners.
In-Betweeners. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, did we play with them in Swansea as well?
No, we only did those 2 nights. We were supposed to play with them in Exeter a few days before, but they couldn't make it, so we did that one by ourselves. But yeah, it was just those 2 nights. So yeah, that was 2006. And then 2009, again, tomorrow, which is the 9th of July, the 10th of July and the 11th of July, we did a run of 3 gigs. Collider had come out earlier in the year. We'd done the Collider tour. Then G had got married, so we'd had a few months off for that. Obviously, we played at G's wedding, which we talked about last week and the week before. And then we came back and did these 3 gigs. Can I remember the 3 gigs we came back to do?
Yes. One was no, I don't know. I've no idea.
We played the Tap House in Kidderminster.
Hey,
Oh,
Which is-
acoustic.
No, full band.
We played full band there.
Full band, yeah.
Full
they
band.
had a pinball machine just inside the front door.
Well, it was
That's
Rich's
literally
local.
the only thing
Yeah,
I remember.
Rich's local. We'd played there acoustically the year before, but we
Oh,
went back and
no.
did a full band gig.
Did we?
Yep.
Wow.
And then the night after that, we played at the Hope and Anchor in Islington, in London.
Shit.
Was that with the bed?
No. That was many
that
years
was
before.
downstairs, wasn't it? In the open
It was a really good gig. It was rammed. It was a really good one. We have that one on video. We have that one on video.
Yeah, and our friend Laidlaw, James Laidlaw, took loads of photos, didn't he?
Help me
Top up.
remember.
Yeah, in London, downstairs, not the biggest stage.
Yeah, it was quite a low stage, I think, sort of set in a corner. But yeah, it was just really packed. They immediately asked us back, which we never did because it was a really, really good gig.
I don't think it happened. This is my old man failing to remember.
And then the third night of the 3, we came out and played Louisiana again. I don't specifically remember anything about it, except we recorded it via the sound desk to try and get a proper live recording. So we have that.
Was that when we played with Datacom?
No.
Cars on Fire.
That might have been, yeah, but that might have been round about when we were playing with
We
those
certainly
guys.
were playing with them a lot at that point, so it could have been with them. Yeah.
There's a record I've not stuck on in a long time.
Oh.
I'm gonna go and listen to the Cars on Fire's record. Respect to
call.
Cars on Fire.
So there we go. That's what was happening, if you believe it, on this day in the past.
What may have happened
Mm.
or may not.
One more time in the firing line. It's hard time, we're always right. One more time in the firing line. It's hard time, we're always right.
Okay, this week's discussion is the first of an occasional series where we review an album that played a formative role in the early musical experience of one of the 4 of us. So this week, continuing from a discussion in episode 7, we're doing a track-by-track review of Make It Big by Wham, which was the first album I ever bought. So we'll talk through our relationship with Wham and this album prior to any recent listening, and then we'll do a track-by-track review followed by summing up and possibly a score out of 5. Let's see how we go. But firstly, some facts. Make It Big was Wham's second album. It also proved to be their final full album. It was mostly recorded at Studio Miraval in Provence, France. over 6 weeks from July 1984. It was then released 22nd of October 1984 in the UK and a couple of weeks later in the US, when both George Michael and Andrea Ridgeley were still only 21 years old. And that's quite worth pointing out for context as we talk through the album in a bit. It provided 3 UK #1 singles in that calendar year. They also recorded Last Christmas in the August and released it in hope of getting a 4th #1, but it was kept off the top spot at Christmas by Band Aid, on which George Michael also sang. So, as I said, Make It Big was my first album I ever bought. So let me give you a bit of background as to how that happened. My parents are both classical musicians, as you guys know. So in my early years, really all that was played at home or in the car was classical music. My dad did have some Beatles and other records, but I didn't hear those until later on.
And the Johnny Briggs theme tune as well.
He could play that, certainly, and did regularly. He used to come to my school and play it. So it was the summer of 1984. I was 7 years old, and I went with my family to Norway.
Norway.
Indeed. As the youth orchestra my dad conducted was there on a sort of exchange trip. So, you go over there, the kids would do a few concerts and all stay with families and have a lovely time, basically. Awesome holiday it was. And then on one of the last evenings, the local hosts did a disco for all the kids. So obviously I was there. And I remember vividly, I honestly remember this still, Wake Me Up Before You Go Go came on. And I absolutely loved it. I don't know why that song, of all whatever I heard, I don't remember anything else I heard at the disco that night, but it absolutely stuck with me. I guess I must have asked someone what it was or found out. Anyway, I came home and I went and probably from W.H. Smith, bought the cassette of Make It Big by Wham. And I know the second album I ever bought was Hunting High and Low by a-ha, which didn't come out till the tail end of 1985. So I guess there's a year there where I only had one album, and I was starting to record stuff off the Radio 1, and listen to that and stuff, but it was the one album I had, so it had a lot of play in that time. And I guess there must have been decades since then where I didn't listen to it very much, but it's one that I've always dipped back into. At some point in the last 5 or 6 years, I bought the original vinyl off eBay for about £3, I think it was, just so I had a copy of it, and it goes on from time to time.
Would you say this is your hysteria in my equivalent?
Well, I don't know, because obviously it hasn't particularly influenced the kind of music I've ended up playing, but it is foundational to sort of the path I took in terms of music and getting into pop, and then from there into sort of crossover with rock, and from there.
You do always wear those big woolly jumpers, don't you, and roll up the sleeves on your suit jackets, so maybe that's where that came from.
It could be that. There might be something subconscious there. You're right. What it all means, of course, is context is completely skewed for me. So I'm not sure. For me, it's although there's standout songs and the obvious hits, it's a body of work for me. And one song that always goes into the next in my head. And so it's quite interesting. And I'm really interested to see what you all think of this and how much of it stands up to scrutiny now. But yeah, let's perhaps go around the three of you so I understand. How I know, let's start with you, G, because you said last week, I think it was, that you know this quite well because your sister had it.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Yeah. So it's a similar experience to you in that at exactly the same time that record was definitely part of my life when I was whatever age. The difference was that my older sister Jen, who was 18 months older than me, we were both getting into music and listening to Radio 1 and maybe listening to the Wombles and enjoying getting the start-ins of music and stuff, listening to the chart show and stuff. But then she started getting into like things like Bros and Brother Beyond and then Jericho and all that sort of stuff. And Make It Big by Wham was sort of the first, either that or Shakin' Stevens might have been the first thing that she picked up on. And it became a bit of a rivalry thing in that it was like, ooh, she's a Wham fan. And I was her little brother. So I had a little bit of an antagonistic relationship with it at the time, but that didn't mean that I wasn't osmosing all of those songs at the time and secretly enjoying it. And, looking back now, I don't hold any animosity from it. It's all great stuff that was like a huge sort of, that is deep in me, similarly to the way that I think it is with all. So it was lovely coming back to it. I don't know whether I've ever actually sat down and listened to the whole record, but I knew a lot of it unbelievably well, put it that way.
Cool. Rich?
Don't know the album. Of course, Wham are ubiquitous, so you know the big songs. I was the oldest, so a lot of my musical experience when I was this age, sort of 7 or 8, was coming from my dad, who liked a lot of pop music from the 80s. So you would get, I don't think he would have been into Wham, but I remember there was a lot of Lionel Richie in the early 80s. I think Can't Slow Down came out in 83, which was huge. I remember me and my sister liking that. So we always loved pop music from the 80s, but didn't know it that well. And of course, you'd know the songs from school discos and things. And I think later after that, Wham became kind of naff in my mind, and then probably George Michael as well. And also, you know, he kind of, as he went through his various kind of challenges, I think he became, in my mind, a little bit of a laughing stock. But latterly, I look back very respectfully and fondly on all of his kind of musical endeavors, partly because my wife, Katie, is a huge George Michael fan and just sort of blast his solo albums. And you go, oh, actually, this is really good as you get into the early 90s. And I think, you know, and Ollie, when we lived together, we'd watch things like the Queen stuff, the tribute concert, and you'd see George Michael get up there, and it's just phenomenal. And the more and more time that passes, the more you realize how talented he was. So I come back to it with a lot more kind of reverence than I would have at the time.
And originally.
Yeah, and it's been interesting trying to pick out his influence and try and understand his influence, and so maybe we can get on to talking about it.
Yeah, we'll dig into that a bit more as we go through. Right?
Yeah, I never heard this album. I'd heard some of the hits, I think, but much like, I don't think I ever went through. I must have gone through a phase of thinking they were a bit naff, I suppose. But much like Richie, George Michael's kind of 90s trajectory, I've always just thought was absolutely wonderful, and I had nothing but utter admiration for just what was clearly a raw talent. But this is the first album that he's been involved in that I've ever listened to start to finish and picked apart in any way. I've only ever known singles up to now, and so it's been interesting going.
What a starting point.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk. There's only 8 tracks, so we might as well do each one in turn.
I couldn't believe it when it ended after track 8. I was like, what?
It's just before we start, we talk about 8 tracks. Is Careless Whisper a Wham song?
Oh, well.
Yeah, we'll get onto that when we get to it.
Okay.
Let's do them one at a time, but we'll absolutely address that when we get to it. So yeah, track number 1, Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. I think there can't be many people who don't know this song.
I hadn't heard this one before, actually.
You always skip straight to track 2 when you're little. Yeah, this wasn't recorded in France. This was recorded earlier and was actually released as a single before they even went to France to record the bulk of the album. I think they recorded it in 2 days. Did you know the story of where the song title comes from?
I might have read it on Wikipedia recently, but I'm not sure.
Basically, they were still living at home. They didn't know money off the first album, even though they'd had massive success. So Andrew Ridgeley was going out to do some PR thing or something. So left a note on his bedroom door for his mum. She was going out early and he wanted a wake up before she went out. So he wrote, "Wake me up before you go." But he mistakenly wrote, "Wake me up before you go," and realised his mistake. So he added a second "go" on the end, just for fun. And George Michael saw this and thought, right, that's a good idea. And he wrote a song based on that.
I just assumed it was like, thinking back to writing songs, when you're like, you've got one too many syllables in that line. What the fuck am I going to do? And then you have a stroke of genius. I'm going to use "go" twice.
Yeah.
Well, obviously not.
But from my understanding, like much of this album, they never demoed it. It was all in George Michael's head. Went to the studio, bunch of session musicians. He told them what to play from his head, and they cobbled it together over 2 days.
Over 2 days?
Over 2 days.
Is that right? So he had it It was only existed in his head, and he articulated it to the musicians.
I say in his head. I mean, I assume he's played it on a keyboard or whatever and worked some stuff out.
Apparently, he can
But-
play a bit of bass and a bit of guitar.
But yeah, he was a keyboard. He did a lot of keyboard. He played drums as well. I don't know.
George Michael, originally.
Yeah, so before Wham came together, Andrew Ridgeley was kind of the one who wanted to be a rock star, and he'd taken this new kid at school under his wing, this Greek guy who just started in his class, and persuaded him he played a bit of drums, so they formed a band with Andrew's brother and stuff, and it didn't go anywhere. But I think Andrew Ridgeley had spotted George's potential and persuaded him the two of them should start something. So that's when he was the driving force behind it all, basically. Anyway, so yeah, recorded in a couple of days in May, I think. Oh no, it was released in May 1984. So before they recorded the rest of the album, went to #1 in the UK and the US. An interesting quick link back to previous episodes. The song it kept from #1 in the US, Purple Rain.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, I bet Andrew Ridgeley could have played a better fucking solo on Purple Rain than Prince did.
I bet Prince was fuming though. Anyway, so yeah, so that's the fact of it. Like I said, I heard it in the summer at a disco because obviously I guess it was everywhere by that point. But I mean, I guess this is one that you all know pretty well anyway.
Yeah, it's
before
kind of
this
hard
listen.
to pick this one apart in a way
Yeah.
because you know it so well, right? But what I realized on having a couple of listens, the bass line and the brass in this are a triumph, and they kind of totally work for the whole groove, right?
Yeah.
God level bass.
Yes, absolutely brilliant, right? There's more tambourine in this than there is guitar. I think it's like it's a pretty hard tambo track. This.
It works.
Oh, don't know. It really does. But yeah, so it's bass, brass, and George and Pepsi and Shirley, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, everything on you is really simply arranged.
I'm not sure there's even Pepsi and Shirley on this. I think the backing vocals are him as well, I think.
I thought this one might have been them, but there's definitely others where it's George, and George.
But yeah,
But just to go back to that bass, the only comment I've written down for this track is, Jesus, the bass is incredible. And I looked it up, and it's someone called Dion Estes who did all the Wham stuff on bass. There is some stuff on this song, but also elsewhere on the record, that is, as Richie said, God level. It is incredible, unbelievable bass playing. I can't believe I hadn't noticed that until I sat down and give it a listen. How many times have I had Wake Me Up Before You fucking go in my life? There's some he's pulling tricks which are just ridiculous. By the time you get to the end of that song, he's amazing. Dion Estes, my new favorite bass player.
In your next fantasy supergroup.
Yeah.
Do you know what I also realized on having a good few runs through this was like how much of a kind of Motown vibe the whole thing has got.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's kind of this and numerous other tracks have got that kind of soul Motown thing going.
Yeah.
Especially
And
Freedom, right?
Yeah, and this one reminded me of a bit of Can't Hurry Love,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Which was originally by the Supremes. Do you know what the Supremes album was called that this track was from?
Make it small.
No, Supremes A Go Go.
Hey.
Was it?
Okay.
Yes.
Well, yeah, there's one thing that on that topic, just that refrain of Jitterbug. When you kind of listen to it again, you go, where's that come from? I mean, but it absolutely is that kind of Motown.
It's a dance, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But
I know,
it is
I know, but it's an odd refrain to put into the
Yeah, totally.
song, but it works. We're so used to it.
So if that's 84, how far back in time is that reaching as a reference? Is that 60s?
Yeah, it's the Supremes. But yeah. Middle of the 60s maybe.
So they're a little bit throwbacky, right?
I
Oh, they
think so.
definitely are.
That was in my notes as well. How throwbacky they are.
Yeah, and this is at the same time that Shakin' Stevens was doing the 50s throwback, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting you say that because I saw a review, possibly from Rolling Stone at the time, of Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. and it was scathing. Basically, said they were trying to be Shaking Stevens or something like that. They, having obviously, I don't know if you've heard the first album. I'm not particularly familiar with
Well,
Fantastic.
Club Tropicana's on there.
I'd
Wham Rap.
listened to it today. Yeah, exactly. All those songs. It is very much they went with a style just to try and get some level of success. And this was this album was the one where he kind of really took control and wrote the songs he wanted to write, I think.
Well, also, what I looked up today, wrote, and then if you look at it, for most of them, also gets the production and arrangement credit as well. So there might be someone engineering, but
well, we'll come to it. There's a song later on that he's the only person on. He does everything on it. And it was the same with Last Christmas. That was just George Michael. He did every instrument, programmed drum machines, played keyboards and sang. It's just him.
Oh, he is incredible.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Wake Me Up Before You Go. I think I'm slightly biased because of my history with this album, but that song I still love. It's on, we've got a playlist in the car for when we go on holidays and stuff, and that's one that I insist on, even though it's my children's playlist, really, that's on there and they love it.
Makes you want to be able to dance like Carlton, doesn't it?
Oh, totally.
Wedding song forever.
Yeah.
It's an unimpeachable banger. There's no. Who said at the start of this? It's hard to have an opinion on a song like that. It's just who's going to pick a hole in that?
Well, George Michael was embarrassed with it later on, but then he was with a lot of the Wham stuff. Apparently, there weren't many he actually played. So nice segue into track 2 though, because this was one that he would play throughout his solo career. It's one that he liked from his time in Wham. Everything She Wants. This also went to #1 in the US. It didn't go to #1 in the UK because it was a double A side with Last Christmas. And as we know, that only made it to #2. Apparently, just quick facts about this one, George Michael would normally come up with a melody and then write a song around the melody. This one, he generated, or he found a computer-generated drum beat from a simple drum machine. So it's a standard, bog standard, press a couple of buttons.
Beat or something. Yeah.
And he wrote the song using around that rather than the other way around. Yeah, this is one he did everything on.
Really?
And apparently it's the one he made him realise he could go off by himself and didn't need the whole band.
This might be my favourite one on the record.
Yeah,
I love this one.
Too. Mine too. And this is the one that sounds very much of that time, doesn't it? It doesn't sound like a throwback.
It's got there's something that this song does which I associate with Daft Punk do for me as well, who I absolutely adore as well. Having an ability to make sounds, often like synth sounds, that are just incredibly satisfying to listen to. Like that you whatever that filtered patch he's got going there, it just sounds so good. I can't get enough of it. It's like, you could just snack on that all the way through. Beautiful sound. Makes me feel weird.
Synthy bass.
Yeah. There's the bop bass bit and the keyboard bit together. It just makes me feel funny. It's the best way I could describe it. I love it.
It's funny to know that it is every bit of it is him, because one of the things I noted listening to it is golly, there's a lot of George on this. There's layers of his singing and super sensual ohs and ahs.
Won't you tell me?
It's a lot of him. Yeah, this wasn't my favorite on the record actually. The sounds are delicious, but when I maybe it's because I did my listens in quite short order, but I didn't think this one stood up as well to repeat listens for me as some of the others.
I didn't realize it was a single, but I was talking to my other half about it, and she went, "Oh yeah, this is one of the really, really big ones." And she said, "You know who covers this, don't you?" I went, "No." She said, "Alien Ant Farm." So we then proceeded to listening to the Alien Ant Farm version of this, which is not without merit, and I would recommend.
There's an album title.
Wow.
Alien Ant Farm and not without merit.
Yeah, so I don't think I realised at the time this wasn't a big one for me, particularly. It was just the next one on the album. I didn't realise it was a single. I think possibly because this one, as I say, it was a double A side in the UK with Last Christmas, which got most of the airplay. So I think perhaps, unlike Freedom and Careless Whisper and Wake Me Up Before You Go, it wasn't an obvious single for me. Great song, though. Great song.
Did anyone notice that by the time it gets to the end, like the chorus is towards the end, there's a backing vocal in there where now, as you said, it's actually George Michael doing it. It's just shouting "Wham" repeatedly.
I hadn't
That's it.
spotted that. No.
Yeah.
Um,
It's just only in the last like quarter of it. Like there's like
I wondered why this song was 5 minutes long, and maybe that's the answer. So I could fit in the bit where I go wham.
yeah.
All right. Track 3, Heartbeat.
Oh, the Springsteen track.
Yeah.
It is interesting you say that. It has got that opening, hasn't it?
You've charitably said it sounds like Springsteen. In my notes, I've said after I've said that this is the first one that sounds like filler, it sounds like something from the Grease soundtrack.
Throwback. Total throwback. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I don't want to bring this up too often, but it's easy to forget when you start with the 1-2 we've had that he's only 21 at this point and probably has written these as a teenager, a lot of them.
Don't make excuses for them all.
It's really interesting context though, isn't it? Because you think about the songs, most teenagers write. There's going to be some moments that aren't
Oi,
before
Ollie,
you go.
you suggested we review this record.
Mhm.
Wham apologist.
Yeah, it's all right, isn't it?
I got a few things that I observed in here. Something that made me think, something we've all had experience of when we've been in the studio cutting vocals, right? And writing lyrics and getting hung up on pronunciation of words and syllables and going slightly insane and having to make decisions on seemingly small details to make things
Maybe
work.
developing an Irish accent while you sing.
I didn't say that, but I
Good,
can
yeah.
assure you I was thinking of something else. There's a bit in this one, in the chorus, when it goes, what can I do but admire her beauty, standing on the line between desire and duty? Yeah? He pronounces beauty with a T, very, very, very sort of enunciated, and then seemingly has to then pronounce duty in the same overpronounced way to match it. And once I heard it, I could not unhear it. Beauty and duty. Also, on that same line, how could I help but admire her beauty? It just connects into something that's just a running joke I have with myself, which is whenever I hear any song that refers to someone's beauty, I can't help but think of the other meaning of that word, in that if you saw something and said, "Cool, that's a beauty, isn't it? Look at this. It's a beauty. Look at my beauty here." And it sounds as though someone's maybe talking about their prized marrow or something. So here, when it's saying, how could I help but admire her beauty? I just that's what I'm imagining. Oh, it is a beauty as well, isn't it? Cool, by me. You weren't kidding.
There are some really classy chords in this. There are some tasty selections, and the way it comes out of a middle eight back into a chorus is pretty, is tasty, but it's still, as one of the shorter songs on the record, too long.
Yeah.
Fair, Rich?
Yeah, for me, it's so much of a throwback. I can imagine Cilla Black or somebody doing this one. It sounds like light years in the past, but it's still a quality pop song, isn't it? If someone told me, "Oh, this is one of the big pop songs of the '60s or late '50s," I'd believe it.
Yeah, it's classically written, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's fair.
So I go, okay, that's an admirable song. Just after that 1-2 punch is a little bit of a drag, and I'm waiting for the next one.
I can't argue with any of that, and I think although this, as I said before, is a complete body of work, is always been listened to, because it was in the days where you would listen to a tape from start to finish. There were tracks where you'd want to get past this because I know what's coming down the line. So I completely understand on this one. It is one of the lesser tracks on the album, certainly. All right, let's move on to track 4 and the final track on side 1, Like a Baby. What do we make of this?
End of side 1, sexy time interlude is what this is the vibe here, I think.
My first thought was the title of this track, Like a Baby, is just, it's an unavoidably funny name for a song to me. Like a baby. Like it's being used in like a, some sort of very sort of sensuous and sort of emotional sense. But that's just not how it comes across to me. There's a line in here where he goes, "You left me crying like a baby," which I think is just genuinely funny. Like, what does that mean? How exactly would he be crying when she left him crying like a baby, not just crying like a man, like a baby. Inconsolable, red-faced crying. What did she do to him to leave him crying like that? She must have really upset him.
Rich, thoughts?
This is a memory suck for me. I've listened to this album probably 5 or 6 times, and this song does not seem to penetrate my memory.
Some of his much later albums, I've dug into over the years, thinking like, oh, let's see what George Michael's up to, and it's all been really low key and jazzy and just really quite, not ponderous, but not doing a lot for quite a long time. And the whole, is that a minute or something at the start of this song where it's just fuck all?
It's a minute and a half, I think. I as a kid, I don't think I understood this song, what it was doing.
No, you wouldn't,
I
absolutely.
couldn't really get my head around it. And then suddenly, minute and a half in, it would change key and he starts singing seemingly a completely different piece of music.
Oh God, yeah. Like, thinking about being at that age, that would have been like boo to me.
I didn't really get it. I didn't really understand it.
Kind of was for me. I've listened to it a few times. Like, I find it hard to care about this. Next.
But as you say, G, it does kind of hark to A Different Corner, which was his first sort of post-Wham solo single. There's similar sort of musicality.
Jesus to a Child and all that sort of stuff as well. He's done loads of stuff that sounds like that since. Like he must have been delighted with that.
Yeah. So side 2, track 1, Freedom, possibly my favorite track on the album. I think this one.
I thought it was going to be the George Michael song "Freedom."
We need to talk about
basically
this.
the same.
Yeah,
we need to talk about this.
Yeah, I haven't got any facts on that. We'll talk about that in a minute. This went to #1 in the UK. This was the 3rd single off this album. 3rd one that had gone straight into #1. Well, not straight into #1, but to #1. Only got to #3 in the US. It was kept off the top by Money for Nothing. Fair enough. This was written, George Michael wrote this one when he was 19. So it'd been hanging around for a year or so before they recorded it. Apparently, he was particularly happy when he finished this song. He thought he'd finally done something good. And, the song Faith, obviously by George Michael. At the beginning of that, I don't know how familiar you are with it, there's organ playing. That organ is playing the chorus from this song, Freedom.
Oh, really nice.
Slowed down.
Yeah, but it's recognisably this.
Good.
But yes, his song Freedom, it's called Freedom 90, isn't it? His solo one? Yeah, completely different song. And again, this was another one that, however pleased he was when he wrote it, I think by the time he was doing his solo stuff, he got a bit embarrassed by it and didn't really play it.
He seemed pretty pleased with it on the video that I shared with you guys the other day of them performing it on Wogan.
Yes, miming it on Wogan.
Absolute delight, that one. Like you think of like the innocence of the time that he is genuinely miming without even a suggestion of a microphone.
Yeah,
with a big jumper on with his sleeves rolled up, and he has a mime for every line that he sings. Like, so in case you don't understand what it is that he's singing about, absolutely, I enjoyed that so much. It was amazing.
When you watch something like that, it looks like it's on Wogan or something, right? The sheer exuberance of that performance, and and it looks like completely unrehearsed. He's just going for it, and he's got the raw charisma and the energy and to make it an absolute delight.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
he is like a charisma hurricane on there, isn't it? It's impossible to not enjoy it, but it's hilarious at the same time.
It's really interesting though to find out that he was incredibly shy as a kid, and it was Andrew Ridgeley who really made him sort of just throw caution to the wind and step outside his comfort zone and start doing all this
crazy
stuff. And what that turned him into, there wouldn't have been George Michael as we know it without Andrew Ridgeley. And we haven't really talked about Andrew Ridgeley, but perhaps now is the time to do it. I mean, essentially, I don't think he plays much on this album.
Oh God, no.
And there are a few tiny little bits of acoustic guitar in the background, but all the interesting guitar you hear is the session guy that's on the record.
Okay.
You're not hearing Andrew Ridgeley as far as I'm aware. Interestingly, I did hear, I mean, we're not on Careless Whisper yet, but just as part of this tangent, I heard the early demo of Careless Whisper, which did have Andrew Ridgeley playing guitar, and he was playing some very interesting chords. He was playing some proper guitar in there. So yeah, Freedom. What do we think of it as a song there?
Another Diana Rossi Motown classic.
Oh, hugely so, isn't it?
Yeah.
Surprisingly thin sounding, well, by the time it appears on the record, it comes in, and I remembered it as just being like massive, you know, the horns, huge orchestration, but it's a really simple arrangement, and it sounds quite thin compared to what I expected, but it does the job beautifully, doesn't it? Again, there's not much happening in it. There's only, you know, I can't imagine they used a huge number of tracks to record it.
It
Sounds
never
great.
resolves the on-beaty thing. It's all the on-beaty dancey thing. You think at some point it's just gonna level it out and be a bit more fun.
But that's the Motown thing, isn't it?
Oh no, it is, and maybe the Northern Soul kind of thing.
Yeah.
Running through it. But as a listener in 2026, I'm like, oh, go on, have some fun.
Yeah, I mean, it hits right on our long time hatred of the on-beat, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That, you know, it only has a place in music if it's there to set a context for something that is not got an on-beat in it.
Yeah.
And it's going to iron out and do some grooving. But this just goes on beats all the way through. We think this is good.
Yeah.
I went down. I mean, the song is a complete delight, but I really went down this hole of getting confused of Freedom and Freedom 90. Really confused. Like, what's the connection here? And there's this kind of clearly liberation type theme from our relationship in this song to, you know, the music industry and going into a new era of his artistic expression in Freedom 90. Kind of makes me wish we'd got like we passed clearly too soon, like a Freedom 2030 or something. I'd have liked to hear that one. Was he liberated?
Finish the trilogy. Yeah.
Finish the trilogy, have an absolute banger, because Freedom 90 is an amazing song.
That is pro-freedom though, right? Whereas Freedom original is I don't want your freedom. He changed his tune.
Oh God, I'm down the hole again now.
I overall think this is wonderful, and it's classy as hell. And the musicality through the middle eight, the kind of high piano chords and stuff, it makes it absolutely triumphant. It's great. I yet again on this record, doesn't need to be 5 minutes, man. This is a pop banger. It needs to be 3.5.
That's fair. I don't want it to sound as though I'm down on Freedom in any way, because again, this is like just an eternal banger to me. You know, we can pick it apart, but it's a 100%er in my mind.
One last comment.
Mm-hmm.
When I was thinking of, this sounds specifically like another Motown track, and I found myself going, what's the Motown track that goes, if you want to do it right now, do it with me. If you want. Oh no, okay, yeah, that's another Wham track. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
Before we move on, I've just spotted some other notes that I forgot to mention. I've written down here, surprisingly thin sounding track, banger obviously, but it sounds like a tiny band playing right in front of you while giant George Michael sings from the other end of a school gym. Lots of Pepsi and Shirley, and there's a quote in here where he says, "Tell me I'm a baby and I'll understand," which made me laugh in the context of the baby talk. What has he got going on there? Yeah.
They are on this album. Okay.
They do some lovely stuff on this one in particular. There's like in the middle eight, lovely.
Are they in Wham from the get-go?
Pepsi wasn't. Pepsi joined a little bit later. There was another. Shirley was paired with someone else on the first album, or the first early part of the career, and then Pepsi joined ahead of this album.
Okay.
All right, moving on. Track 2 on side 2 is "If You Were There." This is an Isley Brothers cover, which obviously I had no concept of at the time. Obviously, it was. I probably saw on the sleeve notes on the cassette that it was written by someone else, but I thought, they must have just got a writer for this. I didn't think I knew about cover versions in those days, but I finally listened to the original this week for the first ever time, from about 1973, I think, the original.
I listened to the original today too. I thought it was great. It was like, it didn't help my kind of whole this Motown soul worshipping record, and it's like, this next one is actually an Isley Brothers track. Like, we're in deep here, boys. Original sounds great.
I've only got one note for this one. I just wrote nice chorus, and that was it.
For the original now, having heard them both for the first time this week.
It's a lovely song, and he does it justice. You know, Rich?
I got nothing on this one. Passed over me like a pleasant wave.
Fair enough. All right then. Penultimate track on the album, "Credit Card Baby." Who wants to go?
I have notes. I've written as soon as this starts, I'm in. It sounds like the Wake Me Up Before You Go band immediately, because there's a bit of variety on the record where there's some bits are bandy and some bits aren't, but there is clearly a core band that they've got for the record, and this is straight back in. It's them again, and I'm happy. I've written that it makes me want to roll my jumper sleeves up and swing my arms from side to side while clicking my fingers, and that's got to be a win, right? A great song.
Yeah.
But it is unbelievably long. Such a long song. It just goes on and on and on. And there's like a bit at the end where they're essentially just a two-piece act band, right? And at the end, for minutes on end, they just let the band just go nuts. And the bass on this song is even more ridiculous than on Wake Me Up Before You Go. He is just going as bananas as it is possible to go on this track. And seemingly, you can imagine him thinking he's getting away with this stuff, looking up and George and Andrew in the control room just putting their thumbs up at him, and he'd be like, "Okay." Yeah, weird and long song, but lovely. If it was a bit shorter, I'd say.
I mean, I think, right, you've mentioned the length of these a few times. I think this, for all the positives about George Michael and clearly what a genius he was, this is possibly what happens when he let a 21-year-old produce an album without that experience of knowing when to cut stuff and sharpening his pencil a bit, perhaps. I don't know.
Sharpening his pencil a bit. I like that.
Do you like a gold digger song?
What?
Gold songs about gold diggers. Sort of like saying,
Obviously.
You're happy. You can take my credit card. You can spend my
Oh
money.
yeah.
But don't mess with my heart. Or the other way around. Or I think we're in love, but maybe you're after my money. Do you like a bit of that as a theme?
Do you think it's there's a little bit of I can't think what the word for it is, not bandwagon jumping, but what's the thing? You'll know this, Sads. When the current subject is either woven into a conversation or a song, the subject du jour. I reckon in 1985 people were quite excited about credit cards. It's like a song today that's like "You're my AI girlfriend" or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's what we used to be.
Have my crypto password.
Exactly.
The Millennium.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I was thinking of. The Millennium.
Yeah. Same with kind of MTV as you got into the later part of the 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
MTV was
Right, what do you make of this one?
I think this track should be Christmas Card Baby. The tambo in this one sounded like Christmas bells. I thought the chords had a lovely kind of Christmassy warmth to them. I thought it should be a Christmas song and be 2 minutes shorter.
Did anyone listen to this on headphones?
Yes. I got one more comment though. I think him nailing the falsetto in this also made me realize, this was maybe the highlight of his vocal performance on the whole record. He really nailed this one. He is clearly brilliant, but needs an editor.
Cool.
Yeah. Did anyone listen to this on headphones?
Buds.
Because if you do again,
I won't. Carry on.
things I couldn't unhear. There's a conga in this song, like a really high-pitched kind of conga that sounds like a woodpecker tapping you on the top of your head. That it appears variously throughout it, and once I heard it, I could not unhear it. It's a weird addition.
All right, let's move on to the final track, and we sort of finish as we started with a song that almost everyone knows, "Careless Whisper." He wrote this when he was 17.
No, he didn't.
He wrote this with Andrew when they were just trying stuff out for this first album. It was before that, the first demo they were doing. And apparently Andrew contributed the chord sequence under the sax bit. So George had this theme melody in his head, which he envisioned even then, I think, that it would be a sax playing it eventually. And there is an early demo out there that they spent up basically most of the day demoing Wham Rap, and then quickly recorded this in one take at the end. And that's what they started sending out. And it was rejected left, right, and centre by all these record companies.
Well, so they sent that out. They were like, "We've got these two songs."
Yeah.
Wham Rap and Careless Whisper.
Yes. Obviously, eventually they got a deal with sort of a small label, put out the album. Obviously, Careless Whisper didn't fit, and they tried to revisit it several times. He went to the States between the albums and recorded it, and that didn't work. It was quite flat, and he hated they had a really famous sort of American session sax player on it. He just didn't like the way it was all come out, so it never made it then. So this is the other one from the album that ended up not being recorded in France. He did it in London at the place they'd done Wait Me Before You Go Go.
Didn't he do it as a solo thing? Like, I think I
Well-
read that they were in France and he was knobbing off back to Britain to finish doing that song on his own because they were
Sort of.
already prepping him to be a solo guy.
Yes, in a nutshell, yes. It was, although it was on the album as an album track for the Wham album, when it was released as a single, it was released as a George Michael solo single.
Yeah.
Because they'd already agreed, the two of them, that he was too good for this. He needed to transition to, and I read Andrew Ridgeley's autobiography a couple of years ago, and he is very gracious, and obviously a lot of time has passed between then and him writing this book, but he is this was my best mate, and I understood early on that he was far better than I could ever be. So there was no question of trying to stop him going off and sort of finding his place and whatever. So he agreed as part of this sort of promo that when it came out as a single, it was released as a solo single, but he's got the writing credit because he did contribute something to it, because it was written when they were still writing all these early songs right back at the beginning.
So he's made for life, right? Just from that.
Yeah, you would
Surely.
imagine so. Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
you got a credit on Careless Whisper. That'll do.
and after Wham finished, he raced cars for a while. He just lived the rock star life, basically. He didn't have to do anything after that. He did release a solo album because he had some sort of obligation to a record label back around 1990, but it failed miserably.
Maybe we can listen to that one for the next episode.
But yeah, number one in the UK and the US. This.
Not this version, though, right?
Yeah.
Really?
Did this sound different to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, this interestingly, all their singles, I think, are slightly longer or shorter than the album versions. They've all got slightly different intros or slightly different outros or
Like
whatever.
Yeah, like the version of Careless Whisper I know is actually like drum fill straight into the sax bit, right?
Oh, there's like an intro on this one, isn't there? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like a single edit.
A single
I think.
edit. Yeah.
That was very common, wasn't it, with singles? It was the edit version. I remember from 7 Inches. Always be the song name, parentheses edit.
Yeah, just before we go around and get your thoughts on it, just on the sax solo. So yeah, he tried various versions of it, couldn't get it sound as he wanted, so brought it back to London. Even then, the guy, Steve Gregory, the sax player, he was the 10th who came in and recorded a version of it. He just kept getting these session players in and didn't like it. And in the end, he went out apparently, and they turned the speed of it down so they could play it down a semitone, so that you could play the whole phrase in one breath. And then once he'd recorded it, they turned it back up the speed, so it was back to proper speed. And George Michael came back and heard this version of it, and he was finally happy with it.
There you go.
Anyway, Careless Whisper. What needs to be said?
My notes here, I've just written hard to have an opinion on this, and that's it. It's Careless Whisper, isn't it? I mean, again, it's 100% though. It's a perfect song.
I'd never heard this edit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I must have heard like what you call the radio edit, the single edit, or whatever. It's a really good example of what George Michael could have done with throughout this record. Right? Like,
but if he'd shortened all the tracks, then it would have only been about 18 minutes long, wouldn't it? There's only 8 of them.
Glorious tune.
Amazing, yeah.
I was to say sax solo up there with like Baker Street or something. It doesn't feel like it fits on this album, though. It feels like a separate song put onto the end of this album. Now, of course, you would do, because it's an absolute fucking standard, isn't it? But it does feel like in some ways, an odd addition, like it's been crammed onto the album. Doesn't feel a natural fit to me.
Is it like when I went back and listened to the album that Rhythm of the Night by DeBarge is off of, expecting a cornucopia of high-end treats, but actually it's shit, like all the way through the record. There's like 11 tracks of just like shit R&B music, and then Rhythm of the Night is just on at the end, and it sounds amazing, and it sounds twice as big as everything else on the record, and then that's the end of the record. You know, a bit of that.
It's a strange thing to do, to put that the gold as the last track, isn't it? Like, I feel like that's a more common thing to do. Is like, I'll do the Foo Fighters thing and put the one good thing at the front, and then let you simmer through the rest. I'm not saying that happened with this record. Yeah.
Who knows what, all these decisions they would have been making back then.
All right, quick summaries. Make It Big by Wham. How do you find it? And if you want to give it a score out of 5, then please do.
I'll give it a 5 because it is patchy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what is good on it is perfect, and it did the job. 4 3/4. I don't know, 4.5.
Well, yeah, it's a good score.
Yeah.
Rich?
It's just a hugely enjoyable listen, I think, which is the fun of what we're doing, isn't it? Is going back to a particular place, focusing on something that, apart from you all, where it's played a big part in your life, like the back of your hand, you're going to listen to it over and over again. I would never take the opportunity to really dig in and listen to this album 5, 6, 7 times like I did. And it deepened my appreciation for George Michael and Wham. I enjoyed the experience, and there's enough in there beyond the absolute bangers to justify the time. So the score is kind of irrelevant in a way. I'd probably put it between 3 and 4 if I had to be really, pedantic about it. But I got way more enjoyment out of it than that score would suggest. I'm not sure if I would go back to it, but if I did, I would not begrudge that at all.
Cool. Right.
Really happy I know this record's where I didn't before. I think and it's a really interesting glimpse into the beginnings of one of the very best. But I've got to say, even the gold on it is a bit bloated, man. Like Freedom, which I came out thinking, yeah, this is wonderful. It's like, even that, I'm like, is this still going? Like, I think I'm and then there's a few bits that I think I'm a 3.
I think that's fair enough.
It's all beautifully done, needed an editor, and you should have, the album would have been 22 minutes of gold.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't know if I could score it. I mean, I think I've always known there's some tracks that are stronger than others. As I said, I know it so well as an end-to-end piece. I mean, I wouldn't score it a 5 just because I appreciate that it's not gold from start to finish, but it's a pretty special album for me, which I do still go back to even now. So yeah, thanks for indulging me this week.
Whoa. Where's the score?
4.5.
Same as me then.
Thanks all. What I would say, having now done 2 of these, is I wonder how many records there are from 40 years ago, 50 years ago, that stand up to the level of scrutiny we all put them through in this. Just like, let's have like properly, a good number of proper listens. What's going on? How does this sound?
It's so much more interesting to do an album like this where it is flawed in a way than listening to, I don't know, like Rumours by Fleetwood Mac, or name an album that probably is absolute gold all the way through. Or maybe that's my flawed memory of what the album's like. I think it's more interesting to find these ones that are kind of patchy in their own way, or have their own idiosyncrasies of the time or of the age of the people doing it. And they don't have to be perfect, do they? It's interesting enough just to take 3 or 4 amazing songs from it and have something to talk about the rest of it.
Yeah. Cool. Right, let's wrap this up. Right, so what have we got coming up? I believe, Rich, we have a Blue Neck album on the horizon pretty soon, don't we?
I'm so pleased you remember that, because I was just racking my brain with what is going on. Yeah, Blue Neck Moonlighting out on Friday, available from all good Bandcamp and Burning Shed, and streaming from Friday.
Yes.
Awesome.
Don't worry.
Cool. G, you got anything coming up?
No. I don't think so. Yeah, nothing exciting that I can think of, other than obviously looking forward to the next episode of the Left Side Brain podcast.
Good. Right.
I think the next gig I've got in the calendar is with G, actually. We're countdown on to Life of Agony. We're about a month away from that.
No, yeah, come on.
We will feedback on that. On Friday, so yeah, day after tomorrow, my finger's going to be poised over the buy tickets to see Converge button, which is in November. So that's hot on my list for the next few days.
Which venue, right?
They're playing at Electric in Bristol.
Uh-huh.
And I've listened to a lot of Converge in my time, and I've never seen them. So I am excited to try and get there. And Pupil Slice are a supporting G. So
Oh, nice. They're good.
They are very good. There's someone else in between I don't know so much about. But anyway, yeah, I'm only excited about getting tickets for that on Friday, and I'll report later on how it goes.
We'll find out next time whether you managed.
Is Electric the venue where we are, I hope, all going to see The Scratch?
I was just going to ask if you guys have got tickets yet.
I haven't got a ticket, actually. Maybe I should.
Yeah, can you get me one as well, right?
Yeah.
My brother-in-law Mark was talking about coming down as well. He's a big fan. I'll talk to him.
All right.
Nice. We do some live podcast recording from the gig.
All right. Tupperware cam.
Lovely stuff. We will finish. I think it's only fitting that we play out with a track from the new Blue Neck album. Have you got one you'd like to go for, Rich?
Yeah, let's go with the title track, Moonlighting.
Awesome. Right. We'll see you all very soon. Good night.
Yes, boys.
Bye.
Bye.
I can feel the cold sensation of you breathing in my ear. Obsession with your reputation. You say that it's your only fear. I will always say I love you. I could almost mean it now. I stop myself from falling for you. I stop myself from falling for someone else. Can't you see how pitiful the suffering is on your own? I can see how beautiful you are when we can be alone. I could never end this slowly. I would have to end it now. Just for saying that you're lonely. Your hesitation's keeping us as one. when you call this time. Be yourself.